I stood in my driveway, heart pounding, as my sisters' faces twisted in shock and fury. Victoria's designer bags, Layla's yoga gear, their entire lives packed into boxes. They thought it was all headed to my brand new house. But the moving truck I'd hired? It had just dumped everything at a storage facility across town, and they had no idea I'd been planning this for weeks. The look in their eyes when they realized their free ride was over? Priceless. But let me back up and tell you how I got here, how my sisters tried to steal my dream, and how I finally fought back. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated with all our latest stories. Your support means the world. If you find this video valuable, give it a like. I'd love to know where you're watching from, and so would our other viewers. Drop your city in the comments below. Now let's dive into the story. My name's Chloe, I'm 32, and I've spent most of my life being the reliable sister. You know the type, the one who always picks up the phone at 2 a.m. when someone's car breaks down, or loans money that never gets paid back, or opens her door to family who treat her place like a 24/7 Airbnb. That's me, or at least it was. For years, I let my sisters, Victoria and Layla, walk all over me, mostly because I was too scared of the family drama that'd follow if I said no. But even a doormat has a breaking point, and I hit mine when they set their sights on the one thing I'd worked my butt off for, my new house. I'd been living in a cramped one-bedroom apartment in a quiet suburban town, pinching pennies and working overtime for 5 years to save for a down payment. My dream was a little bungalow on Maple Lane, nothing fancy, just 2 bedrooms, a small porch, and a yard where I could plant flowers and finally have a space that was mine. No roommates. No family crashing on my couch, no one eating my last yogurt. I'd gotten the mortgage approval letter a week ago, and I was practically vibrating with excitement, clutching that piece of paper like it was a winning lottery ticket. But I hadn't told my family yet. I knew the second I did, Victoria and Layla would swoop in like vultures. It's not like they're evil or anything, but they've got this knack for turning my life into their personal playground. Take last Tuesday, for example. I was getting ready for work, trying to iron my blouse in peace, when I heard the front door unlock. No knock, no text, just the jangle of keys and Victoria's voice booming through my apartment. "Chloe, your fridge is a disaster," she called, already rummaging through my groceries. I poked my head out of my bedroom, biting back a sigh. "Good morning to you too, Vic." She was tossing my perfectly good strawberries into the trash, muttering about how they weren't organic enough. "You should really stock the almond milk I like," she said, slamming the fridge door. "The unsweetened kind. This sugary stuff is gross." I clenched my jaw, counting to 10 in my head. That spare key I'd given her for emergencies had become her all-access pass to my life. "Those strawberries were fresh," I said, keeping my voice even. "And I like my almond milk." Victoria just rolled her eyes, flopping onto my couch like she owned it. "Whatever, you're so uptight lately." "Oh, did you wash my jeans yet? The ones I left here last month." I stared at her, my iron steaming in my hand. "You mean the ones still in my laundry basket?" "No, I didn't wash your clothes." She huffed, pulling out her phone. "God, Chloe, chill. It's not a big deal." But it was a big deal. It was the 100th time she'd done something like this, waltzing in, taking what she wanted, leaving her mess behind. And Layla was no better. Just yesterday, I'd found her workout gear, sweaty leggings and all, shoved in my hamper, where it had been for 3 weeks. When I texted her about it, she replied with a shrugging emoji and, "Oops, my bad. Just wash M4. System, you me sis." I'd stared at that text, my fingers hovering over the keyboard, wanting to type something sharp but settling for a fine instead. Confronting them never worked. It always ended with tears, guilt trips, and our mom, Caroline, lecturing me about family first. The worst part? I knew they'd find out about the house eventually, and I was dreading it. Victoria and Layla had a sixth sense for sniffing out anything good in my life and claiming it as theirs. I'd seen it before, like when I got my first car and Victoria borrowed it for weeks, racking up parking tickets she never paid. Or when Layla crashed at my place for a month after a breakup, eating all my food and leaving her healing crystals on every surface. But this house? System. Years of sacrifice. I wasn't going to let them ruin it. That's when I saw it. A notification on my phone from Layla's social media. She'd posted a selfie with Victoria, both grinning with the caption, "Big sis Chloe's got a new house and we're moving in soon. Time to live large." My stomach dropped. They didn't even know the details yet, but they were already staking their claim, broadcasting it to the world like it was a done deal. I sat on my couch, staring at the post, my excitement curdling into dread. They hadn't asked. They hadn't even called. They just assumed my home was theirs. I closed my eyes, picturing the bungalow, its white picket fence, the creaky porch swing, the quiet I'd been craving. Then I pictured Victoria rearranging my furniture, Layla turning my guest room into some woo meditation den, both of them eating my food and using my credit card like it was their personal ATM. My hands shook as I set my phone down. That's when something inside me snapped. I wasn't going to let them take this from me. Not this time. I grabbed my laptop and emailed Lucas, a guy from work who'd mentioned a moving company he knew. "Hey, I need a favor," I typed. "Can you get me a quote for a moving truck and a storage unit? Somewhere cheap, out of the way. And keep it quiet." His reply came fast. "On it." "What's the plan?" I leaned back, a small, defiant smile creeping onto my face. "Just helping some family move," I wrote back. "But they don't need to know where to." They thought they could walk all over me again, but they were wrong. I'd spent years cleaning up their messes, but this time I was drawing a line. And when the moving day came, they'd learn exactly what happens when you push someone too far. The family barbecue at my mom's house was in full swing, the backyard packed with aunts, uncles, and cousins, the air thick with charcoal smoke and the hum of gossip. I stood by the picnic table, clutching a soda, my stomach churning. I'd been psyching myself up all week to announce my big news, the house on Maple Lane, my little slice of freedom. I wanted to share it, to feel that burst of pride when everyone congratulated me. But deep down, I knew better. My sisters, Victoria and Layla, were circling like sharks, and the second I opened my mouth, they'd pounce. I took a deep breath, waiting for a lull in the chatter. My best friend, Hannah, caught my eye from across the yard, giving me a thumbs up. She'd been hyping me up all day, texting me things like, "You've earned this, Chloe. Don't let them ruin it." But as I scanned the crowd, spotting Victoria laughing too loudly with a glass of wine and Layla snapping selfies by the grill, my confidence wavered. They'd already bragged online about moving into my house, a house they hadn't even seen. I gripped my soda tighter, the cold grounding me. It was now or never. "Hey, everyone," I said, my voice cutting through the noise. Heads turned, and I forced a smile. "I've got some news. I bought a house." For a split second, it felt good. Aunts gasped, cousins clapped, and Uncle Mike shouted, "Atta girl, Chloe." But before I could bask in it, Victoria's voice sliced through the cheers like a knife. "Oh my God, that's perfect," she squealed, sloshing her wine as she rushed toward me. "Layla and I were just saying we need a fresh start. This is like fate." My heart sank. Layla bounced over, phone still in hand, her eyes gleaming. "Yeah, we're totally moving in with you, Chloe. We'll split the bills, make it a whole sister thing. It's gonna be epic." I froze. My smile stuck like it was glued on. The backyard seemed to close in, relatives murmuring, some nodding like this was the sweetest idea ever. "Wait," I started, but Victoria steamrolled right over me. "I'm calling dibs on the master bedroom," she announced, already scrolling through her phone. "I need space for my art studio. You don't mind, right? You're always so chill." "An art studio?" I blinked, my voice barely audible. "It's a 2-bedroom house, Vic. I need." "Oh, and the garage." Layla cut in, clapping her hands. "I'm turning it into a meditation retreat. I'm starting this new wellness brand, and it's gonna be huge. We could charge for classes, Chloe. You'd make bank." She winked, like I should be grateful for her genius. I stood there dumbfounded as they planned their invasion of my home, my sanctuary, right in front of everyone. Relatives chimed in with, "That's so nice of you, Chloe," and "Sisters living together, how cute." My mom, Caroline, beamed from her lawn chair, raising her glass. "See? This is what family's about. Your dad would be so proud of you girls sticking together." "Proud?" My dad, who'd worked himself to the bone to teach me the value of earning my own way, would have been horrified. I wanted to scream, to tell them the house was mine, not some communal crash pad. But the words caught in my throat, years of keeping the peace choking me silent. I caught Hannah's eye again. She was mouthing, "Say something." But I just shook my head, my chest tight. Victoria was already pulling up furniture websites on her phone, muttering about vibes and accent walls. Layla, not to be outdone, started listing decor ideas. Incense burners, tapestries, a zen corner for her crystals. "We'll need to repaint," she said, like it was her house. "That beige you like is so basic, Chloe." I felt like I was drowning, their voices blending into a suffocating hum. That's when my phone buzzed in my pocket. I slipped away to check it, grateful for the excuse. It was Hannah, texting from 10 feet away. "Girl, shut this down now. They're taking over." Also, I overheard Vic whispering to Layla about needing to lay low from some financial stuff. Sounded shady. "You okay?" My fingers hovered over the screen. Financial stuff? That didn't surprise me. Victoria was always dodging bills, borrowing cash she never repaid. But needing my house to lay low? That was new, and it sent a chill down my spine. I glanced at my sisters, still chattering about paint colors and room assignments, oblivious to my growing anger. They hadn't even asked if I wanted roommates. They just assumed I'd roll over like always. I typed back to Hannah, "Not okay, but I've got an idea. Don't tell anyone." Then I opened a new message to Lucas, my coworker who'd hooked me up with the moving company contact. "Hey, I wrote my hands steadier now. That storage unit and movers we talked about? I'm ready to lock it in. Can you make sure it's discreet?" His reply was instant. "Done." "You sure about this? Sounds like a big move." I looked up at Victoria, now showing Layla a $2,000 couch she needed for our living room, and my jaw clenched. "Oh, I'm sure," I texted back. "They're about to learn what boundaries are." As the barbecue wound down, Caroline pulled me aside, her smile warm but pointed. "I'm so glad you're letting your sisters move in," she said, squeezing my arm. "It's what family does. You've always been the responsible one, Chloe. Don't let that change." I forced a nod, my throat tight. Responsible. That's what they called it when I let everyone walk all over me. But not anymore. I slipped away to my car, the noise of the party fading behind me. My phone buzzed again, another post from Layla, this time a photo of her and Victoria's toasting with the caption, "To new beginnings in our new house. Clinking glasses, #sistergoals." I stared at it, my dream of a quiet bungalow slipping through my fingers. But then I thought of the storage unit, the movers, the plan taking shape in my head. They could post all they wanted. They could plan their yoga retreats and art studios. But I was done being their doormat. This house was mine, and I was going to make sure they knew it. My apartment used to feel like a safe haven, a cozy little corner of the world where I could shut out the chaos. But now, it was a war zone of cardboard boxes, half-empty wine glasses, and my sister's belongings spilling across every surface. Victoria and Layla had turned my space into their personal staging area for the big move to my new house, and I was losing my mind. Every day brought a new invasion, another suitcase, another demand, another piece of my life rearranged to suit their whims. I'd always let them get away with this stuff, but this time, they'd pushed me too far, and the anger simmering inside me was starting to boil over. It started the morning after the barbecue. I was sipping coffee, trying to enjoy a rare quiet moment, when the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Victoria, arms full of shopping bags, Layla trailing behind with a box labeled vintage handbags. "Hey, Chloe," Victoria said, brushing past me without a hello. "We figured we'd get a head start on moving stuff over. You don't mind, right?" Before I could answer, Layla was already in my living room, shoving my throw pillows aside to make room for her box. "This place is so cluttered," she sighed, like it was her apartment. "We'll fix that when we're all settled in the new house." I stood there, coffee mug in hand, my jaw tight. "You're bringing stuff here?" "No. I haven't even closed on the house yet." Victoria waved me off, unpacking a set of crystal candle holders I'd never seen. "Exactly, that's why it's perfect timing. We're helping you prep." "Oh, these'll look amazing in the dining room. Your taste is kind of plain, so we're upgrading." Layla nodded, pulling out her phone. Yeah, I ordered some tapestries for the meditation retreat. Put 'em on your card, hope that's cool. We'll pay you back. My card. My stomach twisted. You used my credit card? Without asking. Layla shrugged, not even looking up. It's just, like, $200. Chill, sis. It's for the house. I set my mug down hard, the clink echoing in the room. I wanted to scream, to tell them to take their candle holders and tapestries and get out, but years of swallowing my frustration held me back. Instead, I muttered, we need to talk about boundaries. But Victoria just laughed. God, you're so dramatic. We're family. Relax. That night, alone in my bedroom, I pulled up my credit card statement, dreading what I'd find. My heart sank as I scrolled through the charges. $200 for Layla's tapestries, sure, but also hundreds more from Victoria. Boutique purchases, streaming subscriptions, even a payment to some sketchy business consultant I'd never heard of. Thousands of dollars, going back months, all charged without my permission. My hands shook as I screenshot everything, my anger now a white-hot flame. This wasn't just entitlement. This was theft. The next morning, I confronted Victoria. She was in my kitchen, measuring my windows for curtains she'd picked out for the new place. I held up my phone, the statement glaring on the screen. What's this, Vic? Thousands of dollars on my card? Who's this consultant you're paying? Her face froze, just for a second, before she plastered on a smile. Oh, that? Just some shared expenses. You know, for the move, for us. I was gonna tell you. Shared expenses? My voice rose, shaking. You're dodging something, aren't you? Hannah heard you at the barbecue, talking about needing to lay low. What's going on? Victoria's smile vanished, her eyes narrowing. You're spying on me now? Wow, Chloe, paranoid much? I'm just trying to help you make this house a home. She turned back to her tape measure, dismissing me, but I saw the flicker of panic in her eyes. She was hiding something. Debts, maybe, or worse, and she needed my house as a safe haven. Before I could push further, my mom, Caroline, showed up, banging on my door like she was the police. Chloe, we need to talk, she said, storming in, her face a mix of disappointment and righteous anger. Victoria and Layla were right behind her, playing innocent. What's this about you interrogating your sisters? Caroline demanded, crossing her arms. They're trying to help you, and you're acting like they're criminals. I stared at her, my throat tight. Help? They're using my credit card, Mom. They're moving into my house without asking. That's not help, that's taking advantage. Caroline's expression softened, but only slightly. Your father would have wanted you girls together, she said, her voice low. He always said family sticks by family. Don't push them away, Chloe. You'll regret it. The mention of Dad hit like a punch, but it didn't sway me this time. Dad would have wanted me to stand up for myself, I said quietly, holding her gaze. Caroline blinked, caught off guard, but Victoria jumped in, voice dripping with fake hurt. We're practically sisters, Chloe. Why are you being so selfish? Layla nodded, clutching a candle holder like it was a shield. Yeah, we're just trying to make this work for all of us. I wanted to explode, to show them the screenshots, to demand answers about Victoria's debts. But I knew they'd twist it, cry, make me the bad guy. So I took a deep breath and forced a smile. Fine. Bring whatever you want. I'll handle the move. They exchanged smug looks, thinking they'd won. But they didn't know I'd been documenting everything. Every box, every charge, every entitled demand. My phone was full of photos, Victoria's handbags stacked on my couch, Layla's tapestries leaning against my wall, even a video of them laughing about upgrading my boring decor. Later, I texted Hannah. It's worse than we thought. Vic's dodging debts, and they're bleeding me dry. I'm done. Her reply was instant. Then do something about it. You've got the evidence. Use it. I opened my laptop, pulling up the email from Lucas about the storage unit. Unit reserved, movers on standby, he'd written. You sure you want to go through with this? I looked around my apartment, now a shrine to my sister's greed, and typed back, absolutely. They're about to learn what happens when you cross a line. I sat across from Lucas at a corner table in our local coffee shop, the hum of espresso machines and chatter masking our conversation. My hands were wrapped around a latte, but I barely touched it. My nerves were too wired. Lucas leaned forward, his voice low. So let me get this straight. Your sisters are moving into your new house without asking, racking up charges on your card, and one of them's dodging debt collectors? And you're gonna, send all their stuff to a storage unit. I nodded, a grim smile tugging at my lips. Exactly. They think they've got me cornered, but I'm done playing nice. Lucas whistled, shaking his head. That's bold, Chloe. You sure you're ready for the fallout? Family drama's no joke. I thought of my apartment, now a maze of Victoria's designer bags and Layla's wellness gear, and the thousands they'd charge to my card. Oh, I'm ready, I said, my voice steady. They crossed a line. This is my home, my dream. They don't get to steal it. Lucas grinned, pulling out his phone. All right then. Storage units locked in, 10 by 15, climate controlled. First month paid. Movers are set for next week. Just say the word, and it's done. I exhaled, the weight of my plan settling in. It wasn't just about the house anymore. It was about taking back my life. Victoria and Layla had spent years treating me like their personal ATM, and now Victoria was using my home to hide from her financial mess. I'd confronted her about the credit card charges, and her flimsy excuses only confirmed what Hannah had overheard at the barbecue. She needed to lay low. But they weren't going to get away with it. Not this time. Back at my apartment, the invasion was in full swing. Victoria was sprawled on my couch, scrolling through party supply websites. We're throwing a housewarming bash at the new place, she announced, not looking up. Catered, obviously. You can cover it, right, Chloe? We'll split it later. Layla was in my kitchen, unpacking a box of incense burners, the sharp scent already giving me a headache. Yeah, and we need a sound system for my meditation classes, she added. I found one online, $500. Just put it on your card. I bit my tongue, forcing a nod. Sure, I'll look into it. They exchanged a glance, smug, like they'd won another round. But I was already snapping photos of their latest haul, incense burners, party decor, even a neon sign Layla insisted vibed with her brand. Every item was more evidence, cataloged in a folder on my phone labeled insurance. They thought I was documenting for movers, but these pictures were my ammunition. That evening, I pulled a risky move. I was texting Hannah about the credit card charges when I accidentally sent a screenshot to the family group chat, a damning one, showing Victoria's $1,200 payment to her shady consultant. I followed it with a quick, oops, meant to send to Hannah, and watched the chat explode. Aunt Patricia, Victoria, what's this? Cousin Isaiah, yo, is this for real? Caroline predictably defended her, I'm sure it's a misunderstanding. Chloe, stop stirring trouble. Victoria called me within minutes, her voice icy. What the hell, Chloe? Trying to make me look bad. I didn't mean to, I lied, keeping my tone sweet. Just a mix-up. But maybe you should explain those charges. She hung up, and the chat kept buzzing, some relatives demanding answers, others calling me petty. It was chaos, and I loved it. The public embarrassment was a taste of what they'd face when my plan came together. Victoria and Layla were rattled, but not enough to back off. If anything, they doubled down. The next day, they showed up with more boxes, party lights, a velvet chaise lounge, and a crate of Layla's sacred crystals. We're making the new place iconic, Layla said, arranging crystals on my coffee table. You're welcome. Victoria was on her phone, booking a caterer for the housewarming. It's gonna be huge, she said. We invited like 50 people. You're cool with that, right? I smiled, my heart racing with the secret I was holding. Totally cool. Bring everything you need. That's when I decided to seal their fate. I called Hannah over, staging a fake argument in my living room while Victoria and Layla were there. I don't know, Hannah, I said loudly, pacing. Them moving in feels like too much. I need my space. Hannah played along, crossing her arms. Then tell them no, Chloe. It's your house. I sighed, glancing at my sisters, who were pretending not to listen. I can't just kick them out. They're family. Hannah rolled her eyes. Fine, but you're gonna regret this. Victoria smirked, thinking I'd caved, and Layla whispered, told you she'd come around. It was perfect. They bought it completely. Later, Hannah texted me, Oscar-worthy performance. They're clueless. I grinned, replying, wait till moving day. But then my phone lit up with a text from Layla, her tone sharper than usual. Don't mess this up, sis. You owe us for always having your back. I stared at it, my blood boiling. Owe them? For eating my food, trashing my place, and stealing my money? I saved the text, another nail in their coffin. Before bed, I checked my email. Lucas had sent confirmation. Movers booked, storage unit ready. Special instructions set. No questions asked. You're sure? I looked around my apartment, now unrecognizable under their junk, and thought of Victoria's smug grin. Layla's entitled demands. The house on Maple Lane that was supposed to be mine. I've never been more sure, I typed back. They thought they were moving in, but I was moving them out, straight to a lesson they'd never forget. Moving day was here, and the sun was barely up when the moving truck rumbled into my apartment complex. I stood in the parking lot, sipping coffee, my phone in hand as I filmed the chaos unfolding. Victoria and Layla were in their element, barking orders at the movers like they were directing a Hollywood set. Careful with that box. Victoria snapped, pointing to a crate labeled designer shoes. Those are limited edition. Layla, meanwhile, was fussing over her yoga mats and crystals, insisting they be handled with positive energy. I smiled sweetly, playing the supportive sister, but inside, I was buzzing with anticipation. They had no idea what was coming. Chloe, you're a lifesaver for hiring pros, Victoria said, tossing her hair as she supervised. This is gonna make moving into the new house so smooth. Layla nodded, adjusting a scarf she'd borrowed from my closet. Yeah, we'll be settled by tonight. I'm already planning my first meditation class in the garage. I nodded, my phone discreetly capturing every word, every box, every smug glance they exchanged. Can't wait, I said, my voice calm despite the storm brewing in my chest. They thought they were headed to my bungalow on Maple Lane. They were wrong. The movers worked fast, loading Victoria's handbags, Layla's incense burners, and that ridiculous velvet chaise lounge they'd dragged into my apartment. I'd spent weeks documenting it all, photos, videos, even a spreadsheet of their contributions to my space. It wasn't just about the house anymore. It was about years of their entitlement, their theft, their assumption that I'd always bend. The credit card charges, Victoria's debt-dodging scheme, Layla's manipulative texts. I had it all, and today I was cashing in. As the last box went into the truck, Victoria clapped her hands. We should head to the house now, she said, grabbing her purse. Get a head start on unpacking. Layla was already halfway to her car, calling over her shoulder, Don't be late, Chloe. We need you to let the caterers in for the housewarming. I waved, my smile tight. Oh, I've got some errands to run first. Bank stuff. You go ahead, I'll meet you there. They didn't even blink, too caught up in their victory to notice the edge in my voice. Perfect, Victoria said, sliding into her car. See you soon. I watched them drive off, my heart pounding. The second they were out of sight, I texted Lucas. They're headed to the house. Make sure the truck goes to Cedar storage. No slip-ups. His reply was instant. On it. Drivers got the instructions and the bonus. You're clear. I took a deep breath, the weight of weeks of planning settling over me. This was it, the moment I took back my life. I drove the long way to Maple Lane, letting the minutes tick by, ignoring the buzz of my phone as Victoria's calls started rolling in. 15 minutes later, her name flashed on my screen, her voice shrill when I finally answered. Chloe, where's the truck? We're at the house, and it's not here. I kept my tone light, almost bored. Traffic, probably. You know how moving days are. Give it time. She huffed, hanging up, but the calls kept coming, Layla, then Victoria again, their texts growing frantic. This isn't funny, Chloe. Where's our stuff? Then, 20 minutes later, Layla's voice was pure panic. The tracking app says the truck's at Cedar storage. What the hell, Chloe? I pulled into my driveway, where both sisters stood, faces red, fists clenched. Victoria stormed toward my car before I'd even parked. What's going on? Why is our stuff at a storage facility? I stepped out slowly, adjusting my sunglasses, feeling a strange calm wash over me. Because that's where it's staying, I said, leaning against my car. Unit 247, prepaid for 1 month. After that, it's your problem. Layla's jaw dropped, her voice rising to a shriek. What? This is a joke, right? Our clothes, my crystals, everything's in there. Victoria grabbed my arm, her nails digging in. You can't do this. We had a deal. I gently pulled free, meeting her glare. No, you had assumptions. Big difference. You never asked to move in. You just took, like always. Layla's eyes welled up, her voice trembling. But Dad would have wanted us together, Chloe. You know that. The mention of Dad stung, but I was ready. Dad would have been ashamed of you, I said, pulling out my phone. Want to see the credit card statements? The thousands you charged without asking? Or how about the texts where you admitted you're dodging debt collectors, Vic? You needed my house to hide, not to help me. Victoria's face went pale, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. Before they could recover, my phone buzzed with a text from Lucas. Heads up, Layla tried breaking into the storage unit an hour ago. Triggered the alarm. Security detained her. She's back at your place now, but they've got it on camera. I stared at the message, a laugh bubbling up. Wow, Layla, I said, turning to her. Breaking and entering? That's a new low. I've got the footage, by the way. Want to explain that to a judge. Layla burst into tears, collapsing onto the grass. You're ruining our lives. Victoria's voice was a hiss. This is illegal. We'll sue. I smiled, unfazed. Go ahead. I've got videos of you admitting you never planned to pay rent, photos of every item you brought to my place, and a paper trail of your borrowing. Good luck. They stood there, speechless, as I walked toward my front door. You've got 27 days before the storage company auctions it off, I called over my shoulder. Better hurry. I hear crystals don't fetch much. As I stepped inside, Victoria shouted, This isn't over, Chloe. But for the first time in years, I felt like it was. I locked the door, the silence of my new home wrapping around me like a hug. They could scream all they wanted. I'd finally drawn the line, and they were on the other side. The air in my mom's living room was thick with tension, the kind that makes your skin prickle. The family meeting was packed, relatives crammed onto couches, folding chairs, even the floor, all staring at me like I'd just set fire to the family tree. Victoria and Layla sat on the couch, perfecting their wounded expressions, while Caroline stood in the center, hands on hips, ready to play judge and jury. I walked in right on time, my phone heavy with evidence in my pocket, my heart steady despite the glares. They thought they could guilt me back into line. They were about to learn I wasn't that Chloe anymore. Caroline didn't waste a second. Chloe, how could you? She snapped, her voice trembling with righteous fury. Sending your sister's belongings to a storage unit? Leaving them homeless? This is not how we raised you. Victoria sniffled, dabbing her eyes with a tissue, while Layla clutched a pillow, looking like a kicked puppy. The room murmured, disapproval from Aunt Patricia, a headshake from Uncle Mike. I sat in an empty chair, crossing my arms. Homeless, I said, keeping my voice calm. They have a home, right here with you, Mom. Where they were living before they tried to hijack my house. Victoria jumped in, her voice shrill. You betrayed us, Chloe. We were supposed to be roommates, sisters, and you threw our stuff in some filthy storage unit. Layla's sob was perfectly timed. My crystals could be ruined. You know how sensitive they are. The room erupted, cousins muttering, Caroline shushing everyone. I let them vent, waiting for my moment. Then I pulled out my phone, holding it up like a shield. Want to talk betrayal? I said, my tone cutting through the noise. Let's start with the $3,000 Victoria charged to my credit card without asking. Or the texts where you both admitted you never planned to pay rent. Or, oh, how about Layla trying to break into the storage unit last night? The room went silent, every eye on me. Caroline's face faltered. Break in, she repeated, turning to Layla, who shrank into the couch. I kept going, swiping to my evidence. I've got it all, videos of you planning your art studio and meditation retreat in my house without my permission. Photos of every box you dumped in my apartment. Credit card statements showing Victoria's payments to some shady consultant she won't explain. And security footage of Layla triggering an alarm at Cedar Storage, trying to bust in. I looked at Layla, who was crying for real now. Care to tell everyone why you were so desperate? Victoria stood, her face red. This is a witch hunt. You're twisting everything. But before she could spin it, a voice cut through. Sharp, steady, unmistakable. Sit down, Victoria. It was Grandma Eleanor, standing at the back of the room, her eyes like steel. The room froze. Eleanor didn't speak often, but when she did, people listened. She walked forward, her cane tapping the floor, and fixed her gaze on my sisters. I've known about your little scheme for months, she said. A debt collector called me last fall, looking for you, Victoria. Said you'd been dodging them for years. You thought Chloe's house was your hideout, didn't you? Gasps rippled through the room. Caroline's mouth fell open. Mom, you knew. Eleanor nodded, her expression grim. I kept quiet to see if you'd come clean. But you didn't. You used your sister, lied to her, stole from her. And you, Layla, enabling it all. She turned to me, her face softening. Chloe, I'm proud of you. It took guts to stand up to this nonsense. From now on, my Sunday dinners are at your house, Maple Lane. But only for those who respect you. The room exploded. Victoria shouting, Layla sobbing, relatives arguing. Caroline tried to regain control, her voice shaking. This is about family, Chloe. We took you in after your father died. I stood, my hands steady now. You took me in to control me, I said, meeting her eyes. You let your daughters treat me like a doormat, and you called it love. I'm done with that. I worked 3 jobs to buy my house. I paid for Dad's medical bills alone. Where was family then? Where were you when they threw parties in my apartment while I was recovering from surgery? The silence was deafening. Even Victoria shut up. I turned to my sisters. Your stuff's in Unit 247, Code 5591. You've got 26 days before it's auctioned. Don't test me. Victoria's face twisted. We'll sue you for this. I smiled cold. Try it. My evidence will bury you. And Layla's break-in? That's a criminal charge waiting to happen. Layla wailed, but I was done with her tears. As I headed for the door, Eleanor linked her arm through mine. Let's go, dear. I'm craving your coffee. Behind us, Caroline's voice rose. We're not done here. But I didn't look back. Outside, Eleanor chuckled. That was better than my soaps. I laughed, the weight lifting. Worth it? She asked. I nodded. Absolutely. Back at my bungalow, I walked through my quiet rooms. No boxes, no crystals, just my space, my way. Hannah came over with takeout, grinning. Heard you slayed the family meeting. I shrugged, setting out plates. Just set some boundaries. My phone buzzed. Layla, texting a tearful apology. I'm sorry, Chloe. Can we talk? I stared at it, then blocked her number. Another text from Victoria. You'll regret this. I blocked her too. A final message came from Eleanor, Sunday dinner, 6 p.m. Just us and Hannah for now. Proud of you. I smiled, pouring wine. My house was mine, my life was mine, and for the first time, I felt free. Let them scream about family. I'd found mine, the ones who respected me. And that was enough.